Hi, welcome back to Hooking Is a Lifestyle. Today I am going to be showing you how to create the granny ripple. Now it is the ripple in granny form. Very simple, and as long as you don't mess up on the starting row, you'll be fine. And it's very easy to just keep going and going with this pattern, and I'm going to show you how. So to begin the granny ripple, you have to make a chain that is a multiple of 18. So for this demonstration, I'm gonna do 18 times 3, which is 54 chains. So I'm gonna get my chain done, and then we can start with the pattern. Alright, so I have my 54 chains, and then what you want to do is you want to double crochet into that 5th chain from the hook. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on that 5th one, I'm going to turn it over like this so I can get it in that back stitch, and I put my first double crochet in there, and then we're going to add 2 more in there to create a cluster. So 2 more double crochet in there. So you have your 3 double crochet and then your starting chain. Now we're going to continue working in those back bumps. If you turn your work like this is where your stitches look like it. They look like V's, but if you turn it over, you want to work in those bumps back there. I think the work looks neater that way. Now we're going to skip 2 chains, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets into that 3rd stitch. So we skip over those 2, and in that 3rd one we put another cluster, which is 3 double crochets. So this is just granny square stitches. This is what you would do with a regular granny square. And then after you put those 3 double crochets into that chain, you're going to skip 2 again, and in the next one you're going to add your first cluster, which is 3 double crochets. Then you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go back inside that same stitch for another cluster. So that is going to create your first peak. Now we're going to skip 2 chains. Now remember, since you have so many stitches in that one space, it's going to get a little tight there. So you got to make sure that you are counting correctly. So this is the next one, and then this is the next one. So we're going to skip those 2, and then this 3rd one we're going to do another cluster by itself. So just 3 double crochets in there. And we're going to do this one more time. We're going to skip over 2 and make another cluster into that 3rd space there. Okay. Now to create the valley, what they call it, which is going to be what makes it go back down this way. This is making it go up, and here we're going to make it go down. So we're going to skip over 5 of these chains. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into that 6th one we're going to make a cluster. So just 3 double crochet in there. There we go. And then we're going to do that one more time. Skip 2, and then in that 3rd we make a cluster. Next one, we're gonna skip 2 and we're gonna do 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets again. So a cluster, a chain of 3, and then another cluster. Just gonna make it go back up. 1, 2, 3. And this is the hardest row to follow, which is the foundation row. Sorry about that. All right, so we did the cluster, chain 3 cluster. Now we're going to skip over. Remember to make sure that you're pulling on those stitches so you can see them correctly. So you're going to skip over those 2, and in the third we're going to do the next cluster. And then we'll do that again. We'll skip over 2, and in that third one we'll do another cluster. We'll skip over the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 6, oops, we'll make sure I have that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 6th one we'll do three double crochet, for a cluster, and then we'll do that again. We'll skip over 2. We'll create another cluster. And now we're going to skip 2, and we're going to do 3 double crochet for a cluster, chain 3, 3 double crochet for another cluster in the same stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 double crochet in there. Then again, pull on that to make sure that you see the stitches correctly. You skip 2, and then in the third you make another cluster. We'll skip 2, and in that third we'll make another cluster. 1, 2, and 3. And in that last space we're going to put a double crochet, because remember we began with a chain 3, which counts as the first double crochet, so we'll end with a double crochet. And that's the end of the foundation row. And let me just, right now it's not gonna look really nice, but once you have the amount of chains that you want to create your Afghan or baby blanket or whatever it is that you're making, just make sure that you make the exact amount of chains that you need, which is a multiple of 18. So you do 18 until you have the length that you need. Now remember that since this curves up and then down and then up and then down like that, the ripple effect, you're gonna need, remember the measurement, make the amount of chains of the measurement plus add another 18 if you wish, or another 36 to make sure that you get the, I hope you understand what I'm saying, to make sure that you get the length that you need for your desired blanket that you're making. So this is what your work should look like. Now we're going to begin on the second row, and this is going to be the repeat row and what you're going to continue to do throughout the pattern. So we're going to grab our work, we're going to chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, And then we're gonna turn our work like so, turn it over. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip over that first cluster, okay? And we're gonna work in these spaces. We're gonna work in all the spaces, and then the chain 3s is where we're gonna work. So we're gonna do a cluster here in this first space, a cluster here in the second space, and then here we're gonna do the same exact thing, which is a cluster, chain 3, and cluster, and cluster, cluster. Well, here we will skip over these two like we did here. We'll skip over those two, and then we'll create a cluster in the next space. But just let's just do it. So in here we'll put the 3 double crochet. Now is when it gets easy, because you don't have to worry about counting stitches and anything like that. So all you have to do is go into those spaces and work your clusters. And then here we'll work the yarn, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, just like so. Chain 3, 3 double crochet in there. Then we'll put a cluster in the next space. And then cluster in the next space. And just remember here, when you get to this part here where you skip the 5 chains, so always skip over those 2 clusters, and in the next space then you do another cluster, because this is going to give you the ripple effect. So I'm going to continue all the way, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so here I am at the end, and I'm all out of yarn, so which is cool, because I'm going to show you how to change color. So here I am at the last cluster of the previous row, which was the foundation row, and then here is our starting chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a double crochet to the to that turning chain, the top of that turning chain, and that's how you end your row. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how what you would do if you needed to change color. And that's what your work should look like. It looks like a castle to me right now, but there you go. Anyway, so if you wanted to change colors at this point, what I suggest is you grab your new color. I'm going to be using this perfect pink here. I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to put it here on my hook, and I am going to slide it through that white, and I'm going to pull on both of them, make it tight, and then I'm going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then those you could just weave it later. You can make, if you wanted to make sure that it stays nicely tugged, just make 1 knot and then a second and pull that tight so your work doesn't come undone. And then you turn your work and you begin by skipping over that first cluster and going over in that space and making your first cluster in there, like so. Alright, and then you would do the same in the next space, and then and so on. And it's a very simple pattern to follow. Once you have that foundation row done, it's a piece of cake from there. So you just add your 3 double crochet, chain 3, 2, 3, pull some yarn, Okay, so I'm gonna continue to finish that up. I'm gonna do 2 rows of this so I can show you what it looks like, and that'll be it for this tutorial, so stay tuned. Alright guys, I did 2 rows with the perfect pink, and this is what the work will look like. I love how this will look on an Afghan or baby, like I said, a baby blanket. These colors actually will be perfect for a new baby girl. So yeah, and then you can just continue on like that and just change to multiple colors if you wish. That would look nice also. But there you go. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and you understood it well. But anyway guys, thank you so much for staying here and watching with me today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.